25 plants that grow in clay soil. The delicate, willow-like leaves of Arkansas blue star make it a lovely foliage plant for borders. Pale blue star-shaped flowers bloom in late spring, followed by attractive seed pods. Golden fall foliage rounds out the growing season. The plant will grow in most soils, though it doesn't like prolonged drought. Asters are late-flowering perennials that take your garden through to frost. The plants can thrive in clay soil, though they do need good drainage. If you have heavy clay, consider planting in a raised bed or double digging the soil. Although each daylily flower blooms for only one day, there are plenty of them. You would be hard-pressed to find a more dependable flower that's tolerant of many growing conditions. This plant thrives in moist soil, preferring a fertile loam. But it does fine in clay soil, as well. Drooping coneflower doesn't quite have the refined look of the Mexican hat flower, Ratibida columnifera. But it is much hardier and sports the same cheery, swept-back petals. The plant likes medium moisture and good drainage, but it can tolerate some drought. Miscanthus varieties are some of the most popular ornamental grasses to grow. They are clump formers, and their self-seeding tendency might become a nuisance. They grow in many soils, from light and sandy to heavy clay. Fountain grasses are beloved for their fluffy, feathery panicles. You will find fountain grasses in a wide range of heights and colors, but they tend to be perennial only in warmer zones. They prefer loamy soil but also can grow well in clay. Goldenrod gets a bad rap because people confuse it with the allergy-producing ragweed. However, goldenrod should not aggravate the sinuses. The plant is very tolerant of poor soil types, and it can handle clay as long as it has good drainage. Indian grass starts the season as a low-growing clump. By midsummer, it begins to send up tall flower stalks, and it remains attractive through winter. The plant can tolerate heavy clay as well as dry and infertile soil. New York Ironweed is a vigorous wildflower that puts out clusters of small violet flowers atop the 5 to 7 foot plant. It prefers damp growing conditions, making it very happy in clay soil. This plant can handle all kinds of tough conditions, even wet clay. But it doesn't like to be stuck in wet soil over the winter, so make sure the plant has good drainage. Prairie blazing star has the Liatris habit of starting to bloom at the top of its bottle brush flowers and slowly working its way down. The thistle-like flower heads make sea holly an unusual sight in the flower garden. The blooms also can last for days as cut flowers. The plant prefers somewhat dry, sandy soil, though it can grow in a well-draining clay. Autumn joy sedum is reliable and easy to grow. It thrives in poor sandy or gravelly soil, but it can tolerate clay or loam as long as drainage ensures it doesn't stay constantly damp. Big bluestem is a warm season grass that loves arid growing conditions. It's used as an ornamental plant and is also popular for erosion control. The plant is tolerant of most soils. In fertile, moist conditions, it experiences lots of growth. And in less fertile, dry soil, it is less likely to flop. Although perennial sunflowers are not as large and showy as annual sunflowers, they still make a brilliant display in the garden. 3 nice species to grow are swamp sunflower, Helianthus angustifolius, false sunflower, Helianthus ex latiflorus, and ox-eye, Heliopsis helianthoides. Sweet flag is a short ornamental grass that can grow in damp areas or even submerged in water. It will spread by underground rhizomes, but usually it is not invasive. It's a good plant to stabilize damp areas that are prone to erosion. Switch grasses are tall, upright, clump-forming grasses with feathery flowers that appear late in the season. Except for cutting back and dividing, these grasses practically take care of themselves. They can tolerate dry conditions but prefer moist sandy or clay soil. Tickseed is an extremely hardy North American native plant. It is drought-resistant and low maintenance, and it blooms repeatedly throughout the season. The plant is not very particular about where it grows, but it does prefer to have good drainage. Wild Bee Balm does not care what kind of soil it grows in, but it does like conditions on the dry side. It has showy flower heads that spread out like sparklers. Pinch them back early in the season for bushier plants. Black-eyed Susans are a staple in gardens because they are so adaptable and low maintenance. They will bloom for months and live for years. The plant tolerates a range of soils, as long as it has good drainage. It grows best in a rich, moist soil. Blazing star plants have grassy foliage and spiky bottle brush flowers that bloom over a long period. The flowers are very popular with monarch butterflies, which will spend hours feasting on the nectar. It prefers moist, fertile soil, though it doesn't tolerate wet soil well over the winter. This North American native perennial produces clusters of flowers in brilliant color combinations. It is very attractive to butterflies, as well as bees and hummingbirds. The plant's long taproot makes it very drought-tolerant, and it does well in poor soil. Canadian Wild Rye is a clump-forming, cool-season grass with a gentle arching habit. It's easy to grow from seed and can adapt to a variety of soils and conditions. The plant is even tolerant of drought and air pollution. Silphium plants are distinctive prairie plants that like the rich quality of clay soil. The plants hold their sunny golden flowers high above the foliage. Besides the compass plant, the shorter Silphium integrifolium rosinweed also makes a good choice for clay soil. Coneflowers are tough, dependable prairie plants. The purple variety is the most well-known, but newer hybrids come in several more colors. The plant can tolerate clay and rocky soil, as well as drought, heat, and humidity. It's called the cup plant because water collects in cups formed where the leaves meet the stems. This type of Silphium is extremely popular with birds and butterflies. It's very tolerant of clay and wet soil, and it can stand some drought once the plant is established. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more interesting videos. And please hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm.